And welcome everybody to this week's exciting episode.
To be or not to be, that is the question. See, in Shakespeare quite, I know.
It is a question, and it is a Shakespeare quote. Well done.
It is, yeah. Is it Macbeth? Who knows?
I don't actually know, to be honest. I'm not actually that familiar with the works of Shakespeare.
No, me neither. No, I never really cared for all that old English jargon.
No.
No. Yeah. What thou on the morrow and all of that.
Too old school for me, man.
Yeah, it is too old. I like living in between the two. So you've got the old English and then all of this new stuff where you get people saying G and wagwan, all of that.
Word up.
Word up and 6, 7 and all of that stuff. It means nothing to me. So I go in between, right in the middle.
Right.
Old school.
Like a grumpy old man.
Yeah, I am an old grumpy old man.
Talk properly.
Yeah. My wife constantly says to me that I am now a grumpy old man because I'm just moaning about stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, everything's rubbish now.
It is.
This is the problem.
We're in the future, and the future's not bright.
Yeah. Everything's going woke, and I don't like it. I just want to be a grumpy old man and say it how it is, you know?
I wonder what the next phase of life's going to be like.
What we're...
Well, if you go back through the last 100 years and the different generations of people that grew up, the people who grew up after the war, the baby boomers and that, and then you had the 60s and the 70s, the free love and the, let's go just get high on drugs, and then the 80s and 90s, it was basically anything goes.
Yeah.
And now the noughties and the tens and that, we're coming into the age of technology where kids don't grow up nowadays without an iPad or,
That's where I think we're heading.
Yeah, what's the next phase? When is that coming?
100% it's going to be like cyborgs.
Yeah?
Where people are going to start having Neuralink and
because Musk's been doing that sort of thing, and he's implanting things in the brain.
Everyone will have headsets and glasses and stuff that records and listens, and we're going to.
Do you reckon it'd be like Futurama, where your iPhone is actually inserted in your eye?
Probably. Yeah, give it 100 years, and if the planet's still here in 100 years.
Well, that's true.
The
planet will be. We might.
Yeah,
not.
yeah. If the human race is still around, I think it's going to be a mixture between Mad Max with a bit of futuristic technology going on.
Yeah.
There'll be gangs that are using laser guns, and I just think it's going to be nuts.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
Yeah. Oh, you're 100% on this dystopian future thing, then. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I do think there is hope in the world. I really do. That episode we did was very morbid, but afterwards I was starting to think about the nice little things in life. I was driving the other day listening to my favourite band, and I did have a moment where I was like, life is good, it's okay. But then I also do remember that just because I'm okay
doesn't mean everyone.
Doesn't mean everyone's okay, and it's
in my little bubble, everything's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's I do feel for people out there that are in war-torn countries and politics and religion and all of that. It's hard not to think about a dystopian future with those things in place. But,
well, even just in Western society, the kids growing up today, I kind of feel sorry for them because of the way that they're growing up. They don't go outdoors. They don't, they're all sat on computers all the time. They don't go out and climb trees and fall out of them like we used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the dating world as well. We work with a couple of young lads, and they're always talking about they just want to go on dates and find nice women and things, and it just seems so crazy. I don't know if it's just because we're older and we're so far removed from it. Obviously, I'm married and stuff,
Maybe,
so it's I don't know if it's just one of those things where I can't wrap my head around it. But from the things that they say, it's you wouldn't get that kind of thing. A prime example, what I'm talking about is when we were younger and stuff, you could go to the pubs and the clubs and you can actually talk to women and meet women.
That's how it was done.
That's how it was
Believe
done.
it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that's how people met.
Yeah, it was just talking in person. getting people's numbers and having a bit of confidence to ask a girl for a number or whatever.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's...
Well, because you'd be ringing a family home as well.
Yeah.
If you got a number,
Yeah.
it could be
Home
like a mum or
phone.
dad that answers the phone, and then you got to ask for one.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a
who's this? Oh.
real challenge.
Yeah.
Adventure. But like these days, the Generation Z or Gen Z and everything, they just seem to have dating apps. And one of the guys we work with said something the other day that really kind of made me think about it. And I was like, that's crazy. Is if he is in a supermarket or, out and about, and he does see a girl that he finds attractive and they're about the same age or whatever it is, and he's there, I'm going to get the confidence to ask her, she could turn around and think and call him a creep or something just for asking for a number or something. And it could be taken completely the wrong way because that's just how they've grown up in a way. And it's quite sad that like young guys don't have the confidence to go chat to women and ask for numbers. But at the same time, there's some women out there that don't want that and they do think it's creepy or whatever the situation. So it's a real difficult one. The world is changing, and I'm just glad that I'm happily married and I'm becoming an old man because I don't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like influencers are changing now.
Yeah,
like now influencers. I mean, you think of like the YouTube and the TikTok and the Instagram and all that sort of thing, and yes, they are doing their own sort of thing and trying to create content for certain people, certain genres, their own thing. They're doing their own thing. But influencers are influencers because they are paid to try and influence you into buying stuff, And when you think the whole the word influence and influence, like when you think of who were the most influential people in history compared to who are the most influential people now. Yeah. It's a very big difference when you think like, all right, most influential people ever. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jesus and Mohammed. Yeah, you talk ill of those, you piss off 50% of the population of the world, I'm afraid. Yeah. Right? And that's just in religious terms. Buddha as well, I guess, to take up the rest of the population. Very influential. But then, I mean, you've got like leaders, Julius Caesar. And then you've got intelligent people, Leonardo da Vinci. You've got...
fair few people.
There's quite a number, isn't there?
Mozart.
Mozart. All of these people. Who am I trying to think of? Doesn't matter.
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham. Yeah, exactly. And Napoleon Bonaparte.
Yeah.
Great military leaders like that.
Rosa Parks.
Yeah. And the guy that we're talking about today.
Ah, yes.
Who you've already kind of mentioned once.
I like how you segued into that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Very, very influential man.
Oh, he's up there.
One of the most influential men in history.
He's up there. In respect of...
Isaac Newton, that's who I was trying to think of. Sorry.
Yeah. In respect of bodies of work and art and... Is it poetry or just
poetry?
Plays?
Mostly, well, more poems than he did plays.
Yeah, he's very influential in the play department. I think most people, when you think plays and musicals, Shakespeare's name always pops up in conversation.
Yes, because Shakespeare, even today, his plays are put on more than any other playwright in history.
9 minutes and 2 seconds, and the podcast has just started.
We're going to carry that on.
Yeah, we've got to carry that on now. That's our new thing.
You put me off now. I don't know. Shakespeare is nowadays considered the greatest influential writer in the English language in history.
Yeah, makes sense.
Above like Chaucer and all, everybody. He is literally the greatest. It wasn't always the case, though. No. This is the thing. Like, I remember like when I was growing up, And I was told that, like, oh, Shakespeare was always the greatest. Even in his own time, people would, actors would flock to his theatre because they knew they wouldn't have rotten tomatoes thrown at them for a bad performance because it was Shakespeare. And what was that? No, that's a load of BS, man. He was good. He was like well known and admired to a certain extent, but he was just like, he was good, but not the best in his own time.
Okay.
Kind of the same as like a lot of like the artists and impressionists and stuff. They had holes in their shoes, because they couldn't afford to sell their paintings when they were alive. But now they sell for millions. Do you know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
And a similar sort of thing happened with Shakespeare.
So I'm going to try and give you an analogy and tell me if I'm being stupid.
Go on, then.
Back in the Shakespearean times, they would have had plays because they wouldn't have had movies, right?
Yeah.
Right. So would it be fair to say that Shakespeare is considered like a Steven Spielberg level of like artist,
maybe
writer, whatever, but in actual theory, maybe he's really, really good, like Quentin Tarantino, but he's not the best. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's not Stanley Kubrick. Like, yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
is that a good analogy?
Yeah,
nailed it.
Yeah, that is a good analogy. He was born in 1564 and died in 1616.
That dude was old.
No, he died at 52.
Did he really?
Yeah, 52 years old. He retired at 49, died 3 years later, 52 years old.
I imagine for those times, that was a good innings.
It wasn't bad innings, yeah. Okay. He got married at 18 to Anne Hathaway.
No way.
Yeah. Not the actress that's around today.
Lucky guy. But she's old, if that's the case.
She was older than he was at the time. And this was 450 years ago, so she's really old now. But yeah, they had some kids. Okay. And he at some point over the next few years, round about when he was 21 years old, he moved to London to try and become an actor. Didn't really steal the show as an actor, to be honest. But he invested in the theatre company and became one of its writers. So the story goes.
Okay.
And like I say, his plays were admired. 39 plays are attributed to William Shakespeare. 39. He did 39 plays in 31 years, basically, which is some going.
That's over one a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, like I say, after he died, when for 150 years he was just considered. He just kind of faded in history, to be honest. Yeah, his plays were still put on a little bit, but not really because he wasn't there pushing them. It almost fell into the history books and was never seen again until this guy called David Garrick, 150 years later, like mid 1700s, put on what he called Shakespeare's Jubilee. David Garrick was a big fan of Shakespeare. He was England's most influential actor at the time. There are theatres named after him. There's theatres all over the country, one in London. And by the 1800s, this whole new phenomenon of Shakespeare being admired took off, and he was then hailed as the greatest writer who ever lived.
I have just picked up on something that is actually painting Shakespeare in a good light that makes me think that he might have been greater.
Right.
For those plays to last 150 years and still be available...
It's still good going, isn't it?
That's got some credit to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, they must have been somewhat good for someone to...
No, the plays were good.
Okay.
That is the thing. The thing is, like, there's 39 of those plays out there in existence, and many of them are held to be masterpieces. literary works of art.
Yeah.
Shakespeare literally donated 1,700 new words. He made up new words, 1,700 new words to the English language. Just put them out there in these plays.
That's pretty cool.
And there's plays about all sorts. There's comedies, there's tragedies, there's romances, all sorts. His style changed as he went through life. I think he started off doing like mostly comedies, but sort of changed his style as he went through. But the thing is, he had notoriously bad handwriting and spelling. Yeah, this was a man who grew up from modest means. His father made gloves for a living, and I think had a second job on the side tasting beer. So he didn't come from a wealthy background. He came from a small town.
Like the best job.
That is a good job. Yeah, I do the same thing. I don't get paid for it. It costs me, but yeah.
Make gloves by day and taste beer at night.
Yeah, it's not a bad little life.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it comes from the little town of Stratford-upon-Avon. Have you ever been to Stratford-upon-Avon?
I have, and I have seen some sort of building to do with Shakespeare.
Yeah, you can go on like the Shakespeare Trail if you go.
Yeah, but it was years ago. So.
Was the sun shining in Stratford-upon-Avon when you went there?
I think it was actually raining.
Yeah, I think it's been raining every time I've ever been to Stratford-upon-Avon.
Pretty sure it was raining. Yeah. I will just say as well, another thing I've picked up.
Go on.
I've heard stories of people like writing movies and plays and stuff, and it's taking them years to write one thing and make it really good and make it a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it took George Lucas several years to write the first Star Wars.
Yeah.
So it seems crazy to me that in 31 years, he wrote 39
plays, 150 sonnets, and some other poems and narratives that may or may not be attributed to him.
That means he would have been working like 12-hour days every day for 31 years.
And running a theatre at the same time.
That's the only bit that
this is the thing. It started creating doubt as to whether this man of simple means, who had no records of any education, none exist, but in his defence, none exist for anybody in Stratford-upon-Avon in 1560s.
That's why he made up words.
Maybe.
He just made up words.
Maybe. But yeah, they figured that whoever wrote these plays, this masterworks, and attributed to William Shakespeare, right? One had bad handwriting and spelling, which wasn't uncommon for the time, to be honest. Considering, like, there was a popular thesaurus that people would learn their words from that actually contained spelling mistakes at the time. Okay. So even if he was learning from the thesaurus, he would have got it wrong because the thesaurus was wrong. It's kind of like going to the Oxford English Dictionary today and finding spelling mistakes all through it. It wouldn't be helpful. But from analysis of his works, they surmise, or some people, I don't know how you come up with this, how you actually study like some guy's fictional creation and then decide that he had an IQ of 210. Einstein was around 180.
So he was 30 IQ higher than Einstein.
Yeah. Or somewhere I don't know exactly what Einstein's was, but it's somewhere around those. He would have to have been extensively travelled around Italy and other foreign countries, but Italy obviously was the main one outside of England that featured in his plays. Venice and that sort of thing. He would have had to have had knowledge about royal court politics and also like sports that wouldn't have been attainable to him in his class, because he among the working people like that didn't go hunting, they didn't do falconry or lawn bowls, croquet, that
I see
sort of
what
thing.
you're saying.
But he's written about these things in his plays.
So this stuff is like upper echelon things
Yeah.
that he wouldn't necessarily know all the ins and outs for.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so, in 1848, an American writer, Joseph Hart, wrote a book called, and I don't know how this is in any way attached to Shakespeare, but he wrote in a book called The Romance of Yachting that he thought Shakespeare was a fake and did not actually write those works at all.
Is it about yachting?
I have no idea. I can only imagine. That's what I mean. I can't imagine why a book about yachting would call out Shakespeare.
Yeah. Okay.
Like 200 years after his death.
But he thinks Shakespeare is a fraud.
Yeah, and honestly, this theory took hold, and people ran with it. It literally like opened floodgates for like loads of people came pouring through, writing books. Apparently, there were hundreds of books eventually by the end of the century, by the end of the 1800s, that were calling out Shakespeare as a fake.
Wow, that suddenly turned.
Yeah, a whole tide of people. And they called themselves anti-Stratfordians.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah? So in the grasp of like Shakespeare was a liar and a cheat and a fake, they anti-Stratfordians are what they call themselves.
But how would he be cheating, Pirate? This is the thing I'm not understanding.
Well, my first thought about it was when we go back to artists, and like you said earlier, some people take years and years and years to create just one film masterpiece or one book masterpiece. All right, Stephen King knocks them out in 10 minutes, but not everybody can do that.
He's an anomaly.
Yeah, and in fairness, not all of his works are masterpieces either.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
I don't think you've read any of them.
Well, the crazy thing is I've seen a couple of films and I have read a couple. I've seen The Shining. I've seen Pet Sematary.
Yeah, but you've not read the books.
No.
No, he writes books. He doesn't write films. They just make films of his books because he did a couple of decent ones right back in like the early days.
Yeah, I know that. I just don't want to read them because I'm just not interested in reading. But I've seen some of the films, and I'm not going to lie, I fell asleep with Pet Sematary. But some people,
Cujo really bores the tears.
But some people are like, oh, if you read, I understand that if you read the book, it's going to be different to the film. I do understand that. Like we've spoken about that before with like Lord of the Rings and things. It's different, but people have said that the book of Pet Sematary is really, really scary. I watched the film and was like falling asleep. I couldn't understand how people thought that was scary. Yeah. But anyway, we're not talking about Stephen King anyway. But I agree with what you're saying. Not all of them are masterpieces.
I was trying to say, use that as an analogy for what I was about to say. Is have you ever heard of like artists like Leonardo da Vinci? They say that like underneath the Mona Lisa, the paint that is on the top of the Mona Lisa, there's like 3 other layers of different paintings because he wasn't happy with it, and then
that would make sense.
And then he eventually finished it up, but it might have taken him years to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also with artists, what happens is if they do become quite popular, quite successful, which Shakespeare was fairly successful. He did retire a reasonably wealthy man. Mm-hmm. Artists can often have like students, like schools, where they'll take on like people who show artistic talent and that sort of thing, and they'll train them, particularly with sculptures and that sort of thing. There's a lot of sculptures that are attributed to Gaudi that were actually his students' work, stuff like that. But it means that the artist with the name can sell more pieces, get more pieces out there, get more money, but also the students can earn for their contribution as well. So everybody wins.
Like magicians in the magic circle.
And that's what I thought maybe was happening here with Shakespeare. The guy's got a theatre company. Mm-hmm. he fancies himself a writer. Other writers might come along, go, hey, what do you think of this play? And he's like, yeah, actually, this is awesome, much better than mine. Just sign that and rub that out. Shakespeare. Got a new play for everybody. You know what I mean? That sort of thing could have gone on.
It could have done.
I mean, Shakespeare wasn't he wasn't adverse to plagiarizing other people's stuff anyway. There's honestly there's lines from the Bible in there. There's lines there's entire paragraphs that he's stolen from other works. One of his main, what he called his influences, was Christopher Marlowe. We'll get on to him in a little while, but he even plagiarized him.
Wow.
And he was meant to be one of his main influences.
There's nothing he won't do.
So maybe influence means plagiarize back in the day. I don't know. But yeah, the big question was, if he didn't do it, who did?
Yeah, you're onto something there with the students. If he definitely had a school.
I thought, no, I don't know. I don't know
okay.
that for sure. But I thought that would give some plausibility to the wide range in like aristocratic life. You know, the royal court politics. You know, the hunting and the lawn bowls and the croquet and all that sort of thing. He shouldn't have known that sort of thing from where he came from in life. But if he had a school of students, some of them might have come from aristocratic backgrounds, might know these things. Then you can exchange knowledge. You can, get people to help you write your works, that sort of thing. It made sense to me, at least.
Yeah.
That is my best guess.
That does happen, though, even now, where you get someone spend a couple years or however writing something.
An intern,
and then you get a big company. Like, for example, you could have someone like Netflix who takes that idea and makes it into a film or something, and they take the credit, where it will be, oh, Netflix exclusive movie, and then they would have just paid off the person that they bought it from. So, we'll give you $7,000 for that script, and they're like, yeah, okay, it's $7,000
cool.
to them.
Well, they're going to earn 50 million off it.
Yeah, there's actually accounts of. I think there actually has been accounts of influencers doing it as well, but certain celebrities and things, talk show hosts and stuff, James Corden and people like that. There has actually been video proof of them stealing jokes from other comedians. Whether they're famous comedians or whether they're not famous.
Oh, it happens all the time, doesn't it?
There actually used to be a famous comedian, which I suppose this kind of ties in with it as well, because it's all performance, it's all entertainment. You're on a stage. There's actually video evidence of a famous, or at the time, this is probably, we're talking mid-2000s, a famous comedian that was going under disguise. So he'd wear like a cap and sunglasses and things and hoodies, and he would go to all of these comedy clubs in the area in America, and he would watch hundreds of people, and he would sit there with a notepad and literally steal their jokes. And then a year would go by, and it would be, because he was the famous one, it would be coming up for like a big special or a big hour-long special TV show or something, and he would just practice and take all of those jokes. So everyone thought like, oh, that guy's hilarious. He's got this, and joke. And then what eventually happened was all these younger
started hearing their own jokes.
And they were like,
he's getting all renowned.
And other comedians would be like, no, that's definitely your joke. Like, I remember you like pitching it to me a year, and I remember saying, oh yeah, you need to open that on stage with that. That's hilarious. Yeah. And then a year later, some guy has got it. Like, so this kind of thing does happen still to this day.
Oh,
so
does,
it's not far-fetched to think that maybe Shakespeare did either pay people off or take credit for something.
Or just flat out steal it.
Yeah, flat out steal it. Yeah, it could be shifty like that. I wonder if we're going down the student theory route, is it possible that if there were students, they would have been happy just to be associated with the Shakespeare name? Like, oh, that will get me famous.
That is the thing. Shakespeare's name wasn't that great at the time, if you remember from the start.
Yeah. Okay.
He was well known, liked, not revered and loved.
Oh yeah, it was 150 years later, wasn't it? That's even more interesting then. That does make me think that maybe he was just straight up stealing from people.
Maybe, or maybe someone else was writing it under his name. Now, we've got some candidates.
Oh, okay.
Popular candidate number one, from way back when, was Sir Francis Bacon. He would have been around about the same time as Shakespeare.
Is he related to Chris P?
Crispy Bacon. No, he was the former High Lord Chancellor for the Royal Court, so he would have had that kind of knowledge, would have gone hunting and done falconry and, all that sort of thing, would have been extensively travelled. Because he was a lord, he would have been very well educated. And the theory of it being Sir Francis Bacon was very, very popular.
I've heard that name before, I'm sure.
Francis Bacon, yeah, of course, yeah. He's like quite another influential man from history.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because he was of the aristocracy, for a man of his station, it would have been out of place for him to be a playwright for the common people.
Question: what does that word mean? Aristocracy.
Rich.
Cool.
The elites. He was one of the elites.
Okay.
So,
I see what you're saying. He was part of the upper echelon.
Yeah, he was,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was upper class, if you like. So, yeah, it would have been beneath his station to actually write that kind of thing. If he was doing it for the lords and ladies, perhaps, but not for the common folk.
I see what you're saying. So maybe he was willing
To pen it under another name, a ghostwriter.
You also see this to this day.
Exactly.
You've got Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker himself.
Yeah.
He gets involved in other Star Wars projects, but doesn't want the credit and things. So he doesn't use Mark Hamill. He uses a different name.
Ah, right, yeah. And possibly picks a different one every time or something like that to keep himself anonymous. Yeah,
People do this.
People
Okay.
do, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And in fact, so many people were like clutching on to this theory that, oh, yes, Sir Francis Bacon, it's got to be this guy. Like, he fits the bill so much. And someone, I should have written it down. That's a famous saying on this podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Came up with the idea that he'd actually written clues into the plays.
Okay.
Like cryptography, and decided to go through the entire works of Shakespeare, trying to create a cipher that would crack this code that would reveal the actual, the true author to be Sir Francis Bacon. And he thought he'd found it. And this went on for years and years and years. And then I've lost it. The people that they had to cross-reference this.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Was the cryptographers that we've covered them several times, and their name escapes me now.
The people that cross-reference.
Yeah.
So they'll just explore the ideas of like cryptic clues and things and see if they can find the actual evidence.
Yeah, they couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any clues to prove that there was actually a code in Shakespeare's writing.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right. Although there were claims that that there were these clues that would actually reveal Sir Francis Bacon to be the real author of Shakespeare, when it was given to these experts to try and get to the bottom of these clues, they couldn't find nothing.
No substantial evidence.
No substantial evidence. So, to be honest, Sir Francis Bacon, although he is still, I guess, in the running, if you believe all this, if you don't think that Shakespeare was real, Sir Francis Bacon is still a good candidate. But to be honest, most people just kind of think, yeah, it's probably a bit of a stretch.
Okay. So if not Francis Bacon, then the only other option was Shakespeare must have been the one to write all of those plays.
Oh, I've got two other candidates yet.
Okay.
So the next guy was Edward de Vere. He was a courtier. the 17th Earl of Oxford.
Oh, that sounds posh.
Yes.
That sounds very nice.
Again, another guy who travelled around Italy a lot. He would have had the upbringing, the education, and all that sort of thing. Really fitted the bill well. A lot of people were like, yes, I think we found the guy. Except he died in 1604 and Shakespeare died in 1616. Bear in mind when that happened, Shakespeare had still got 18 plays that were unpublished.
Okay.
And when Edward de Vere died, there were still 12 plays that hadn't even been written yet.
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're getting to.
So, probably not him.
Kind of eliminates that guy.
We got the last guy, Christopher Marlowe. I mentioned him earlier. Shakespeare said that he was an influence and plagiarised him. In the balcony scene of Romeo and Juliet, I believe it was.
Never seen it.
No, well, in the script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just stole a piece of Christopher Marlowe's one of his poems, and it's in the balcony scene of Romeo and Juliet, almost exactly word for word the same.
That's not cool.
Yeah, but Christopher Marlowe was a playwright originally. He was quite a successful playwright. He was the same age as William Shakespeare. They were only born 2 months apart from each other. So very similar age. Successful in his early days, but then got in a whole heap of trouble because his plays were quite controversial, and he was accused of turning people against the Christian faith.
Right. I will take this with a pinch of salt because we have to remember that in the 60s they thought Elvis was extreme for shaking his hips. So back in those days, I can only imagine what they thought was too extreme.
So they thought that his plays were trying to tempt people away from Christianity and towards atheism. So, like, apparently he got really scared because obviously if you're accused of that sort of thing back in the Middle Ages, or these times, that would have been a death penalty.
Okay, that's pretty extreme.
Oh, it would have been. So, what did he do? Fake his own death and carried on his career as a playwright under the name of William Shakespeare.
I like that a lot.
It's a good one, isn't it? And get this for timing. He faked his death, or if he fakes his death certificate shows up 13 days before Shakespeare enters the historic records as a playwright.
Okay. 13 days before.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes onto the scene and
starts building his career, gets in trouble, goes underground.
Okay.
13 days later, he's like, well, I've still got this play that I've been writing. I'll just sign it Shakespeare. Puts that out. Bam. Shakespeare is born.
So it could have been him the whole time.
Could have been. This is the thing. And when you look at their handwriting, it's spookily similar.
So is William Shakespeare an actual person and this person has just used their name, or are you saying this person is...
The thing is, this is the mystery, because records are so sparse from back then. We don't if you look on Wikipedia at William Shakespeare, it'll give you a date of birth. We don't actually know the exact date of birth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We don't know that if he was educated or not. If he was, it would have likely been Stratford-upon-Avon Grammar School. But because there's no records for that period of time, because it's been nearly 500 years, they don't keep records that long, and paper was probably valuable back then.
Yeah.
We don't have these kind of records. We don't even know that... they think they know the order of release dates for each play, But nothing set in stone. They don't know which was the first one that he wrote, which was the first one that was performed and published. They don't know. They've got an approximate idea of when it happened, and they know that there was 18 left unpublished when he died.
So is
but
it possible?
All of this stuff is so vague in the history books. But obviously, Shakespearean actors, the Royal Shakespearean Company, and all the believers in Shakespeare, it's set in stone. It was Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a genius, but because so little is actually written down, recorded, there's only actually six actual replicas or actual versions of Shakespeare's signature in existence. There's only 6 of them. None of them look the same, and they all look like they've been written by a drunken man. I mean, steaming drunk.
And is that the handwriting that is similar to?
Yeah.
Like they're both a little bit.
Very squiggly but
is it
it's
possible?
not. It is kind of befitting of the time as well. It's sort of within their class and their education. Like nobody was writing really, really neat apart from the monks that are doing scripture and copying that sort of thing out.
But is it possible that they were working together?
Now
is that a possibility?
Well, if you're going to put out your work in somebody's name that could claim it, you probably want to contact them first to make sure they're not going to steal the light, don't you?
I'm just thinking, if he is worried for his life about going against Christianity and all of that stuff, but he's really good at writing plays, surely you could come to some sort of business deal where he continues to write all those plays, and then Shakespeare takes the fall for if it goes wrong again.
Well, Shakespeare can put them on in his theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you say, it might be a good tit for tat. I write the plays, you put them on, stick them under your name so they don't know it's me because I'm going to get hung. And we split it 50-50.
Yeah. And then as time went on, Shakespeare was like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. And then before you know it, the legacy of Shakespeare continues. And the other guy gets left in the dust.
But he was actually the genius all along with the IQ of 210.
Very compelling evidence that has been brought before us today.
The thing is, it's all so long ago, I don't have a concrete smoking gun to say, yes, it's true, or no, it's not.
Yeah.
All I can do is leave it up to the paranormality scale now and see what we vote it out as, because it's there's some very compelling cases for it not actually just being one man on his own doing all that.
How does thou rate the paranormality scale? Are we going the conspiracy of it, like on a 1 to 10 or 1 to 9.9? How?
First of all, do you believe it was Shakespeare or not?
I don't think it was all Shakespeare, because from the very start, when you said he wrote 39 plays in 31 years, and a lot of them, would you say over half of them were masterpieces?
A significant amount are masterpieces.
Even if you say 75% of them are masterpieces, that's crazy to come up with 39 in 31 years. So instantly I had skeptical hippo eyes. So that makes me think maybe it wasn't all him. There was some sort of help. I'm not the biggest Shakespeare fan. So.
Nor am I, to be honest, no. I find it very boring in English lessons at school.
Yeah. It's a tough one. I think if we're going 1 to 10, rating it, was it all Shakespeare or not? Are we saying 10, it's all Shakespeare?
10 being the classic narrative that everybody wants you to think. Shakespeare was just a genius. He was a man. He was going bald. He had a bit of a beard, wore one of those big frilly ruffs around his neck, and wrote 39 plays in 31 years. Retired at 49, died at 52. Or do you think that Shakespeare is the collective name? of maybe several people, students, colleagues, that actually put their heads together and came up with these masterpieces as a cooperative and put it under Shakespeare's name. Just, he happened to be the lucky one that took the name. Maybe he's got the best sounding name.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them's name was Mud and the other one was,
Trollope.
Yeah, something like that.
Henry Trollope. No, it doesn't have a ring to it.
Shakespeare. Oh, now that's a name.
It
By the way, there was 20 different ways of spelling Shakespeare up until the 20th century, when it was actually finalised.
There's no smoke without fire. So, controversially.
So, if 10 is, it was all Shakespeare, and 1 is, I don't believe any of it, 5 would be...
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle, I think it's the cooperative. Does that make sense on that scale?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You believe all of it, none of it, or in the middle is, I think you're onto something here, Pirate, with the school and the colleagues and,
The last example you gave, was it Marlowe, Christopher Marlowe?
Yeah.
I think that's a good one. I like that. That makes sense. The evidence is there. Yeah, I like that. I like that theory. Even growing up when I was doing English in school, I'd always heard controversial things about Shakespeare and certain stories of is he who he says he is? Why has this guy got all these accolades?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna go in between.
So you think he was probably the influential man that everybody claims he is, but he probably had some help backing him up in the street smarts department.
Yeah. I think you can't take away the body of work and the influence he's had over the years.
Yeah.
There is definitely something there, but I can't give him full marks because there is controversy there, and I do actually think your research is onto something. So that's why I've gone between those two on the upper side of the scale.
Okay.
So that's why I've given it a 7.5, because I do think there is something with that. I really like the last example you gave of Christopher Columbus, or was it Christopher Marlowe?
Christopher Marlowe, yeah.
Yeah, I really do think there's something with that. I think a few coincidences, 13 days before, similar handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. Well, I think, to be honest, I'm going to go exactly the same as you.
That gives us an average of 7.5.
I would like to think that history recorded Shakespeare correctly.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ifs in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
One of the things that I think the analogies that I've said several times recently was from a podcast that I listened to about business and finance and that sort of thing, and I remember that he'd got a guru on who was talking about the guy who was taking over as managing director for Taco Bell.
Yeah, you've said that before.
Yeah, I've never said it on this podcast though, so I'll just tell the story. This isn't my story, by the way, people, but the guy who was a business guru asked the man who was taking the managing director of Taco Bell, how do you prepare for that? And the guy said, well, you just got to realise you're not a black belt in everything. So figure out what you are a black belt in, and then surround yourself with black belts that are black belts in stuff that you're not. And I think that's probably what Shakespeare did.
Surrounded himself with the other writers. Yeah, it would make sense. I like it.
It's a bombshell.
Yeah. We don't have a...
Oh, we don't have a bomb.
We have a...
Very Shakespeare.
I mean, that's kind of old school. We don't really have a...
No, we don't really have a...
explosion. I think the best thing we can do is...
Oh, yes. Well, Shakespeare would approve of that, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Bit of an applause.
Where is thou applause on thy morrow? Something like that.
And until thy morrow, I've been Pirate.
I've been Joshua.
And this On this day has been Paranormality UK.
Ah, indeed.
Tata.
Tartareth the Tatar.
Of the Tatarson.
Something like that. Hear ye, hear ye.